Welcome to Straight Talk for Entrepreneurs, where we reveal what it really takes to build a successful business. Whether you are starting with an idea or growing your business, this is the show for you. My guests and I will show you how to build a strong mindset, a powerful body, a profitable business. Hi, I'm Brandon C. White, and this is Build a Business Success Secrets. Hey, Julie, thanks for joining us today. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You were highly recommended from another young entrepreneur in town, Helen from Coastal Wood Designs.
Yes.
And as I was learning about you, she said, well, you've got to talk to Julie because she owns a barber shop, of which I am embarrassed to tell you that I did not know we had this hip, cool barber shop for guys here.
Yeah.
But then as I'm researching, it turns out that you have a hair salon, 2 barbershops, Posh Pumpkins, and now you, just before we got on, you told me you have a cosmetology school.
It's actually a barber and cosmetology apprenticeship school.
Oh, and that's here in Half Moon Bay.
Mm-hmm.
So Julie,
it's actually at my salon and barbershop. So I hold class in there and on Mondays. Yeah.
That's
and
really cool.
it's state board certified. You know, I go, it's run through the state board. So
it's real.
It's real. And it's just like, if you went to a different, like an electrician or a sheet metal apprenticeship, or a carpentry apprenticeship, it's for barbers and cosmetologists.
So here's where I would like to start. How did you become an entrepreneur? I mean, I got a million questions because it's very hard to run 4 businesses, I would think. But how did you get started?
So I graduated from high school. I did some college, and then I sort of dropped out of college because I thought, I really want to work for myself. I don't want to sort of be on a hamster wheel. I don't want anybody to tell me what to do. I'm not very good at that. So I decided I was going to be a dental hygienist. And then I thought, well, then I would be working for the dentist. So then some friends of mine who were 10 and 15 years older than me were opening a salon. And they're like, why don't you be our barber? And I said, I was 23. And I said, okay, that sounds great. Can I make my own schedule? And you won't be telling me what to do? And they're like, exactly. Because I was responsible. I was a very responsible 23-year-old. So I went to barber school knowing I had a job, right when I got out, and they put a barber chair in there, and I became a barber, and I built a full clientele within 6 months, right in Half Moon Bay. And then they sold the business. And then I actually raised 3 kids, and I still had my license and everything. But I didn't work in a salon. I had access to a salon, but I just would go around and do home visits and stuff while I was raising my kids. And then once my youngest daughter was like in 1st grade, I decided to work again part-time. And that's the other reason that I love this industry, is because you can just enter in and out of it. You can work part-time, you can work full-time, you can work anywhere.
So can I just go back for a minute? Because you over a whole bunch of stuff that entrepreneurs are going to want to know. So you went real quick, like, hey, I got my barber's license. I became a barber, and then I just built my book in 6 months, I think is what you. So like, how do you do that? Like, what were you sending direct mail out? Were you knocking on doors? Were you?
I didn't even have email back then. This was in 1985. So I had some cards printed up, and I still tell people to do this. I'm like, there's social media, but barbering and doing hair is just like a personal relationship, right? So I don't know. I mean, it's a small town. I knew a lot of people. So I, just tried to do everybody that I knew, all the generations that I knew, my parents' friends, my sister's friends, my kids' friends' parents, my kids' friends. And then I only had 1 child, but and then I always had cards with me. And, if somebody had nice hair, I would say, hey, I work at Harmony's, and I come in and I'd love to cut your hair. I really like your hair. So I would like, compliment them and then give them my card and I gave a lot of free haircuts out in the beginning because
Now,
all
wait,
I had was time.
are you from Half Moon Bay?
I am sort of. I grew up here and Pacifica. I went to school in Pacifica, but my dad lived down here. So I really grew up in both places. And
So
then as an adult, I lived in Half Moon Bay.
and you just leveraged the people you know, and you said you gave away free haircuts.
Yes, just to get them in my chair. And I tell people that all the time. I'm like, in the beginning, you have the only thing you have is time. Like, don't be so fussy. Just get them in your chair. Don't charge them and do a good job, and be really nice. I mean, I also tell people in this industry, you don't have to be great. You just have to show up and be consistent. Just basically you have to show up. You have to be there, and hair grows. And I gave a lot of free haircuts away. And then I just built my clientele like that, built it and hustled, I would in line at a grocery store, whatever. I mean, in the produce department, like anywhere.
Just no rules. Always have your cards on you, right?
Yeah. And now it's different, but it's really just getting the person, however you can get them in your chair the first time. And, once people get in your chair, they're going to probably stay if you have if you're decently good. You don't have to be great. You just have to be sort of good.
Yeah.
So,
How does barbers and hairstylists are effectively really mini entrepreneurs, right? Like somebody owns the store, but you rent the chair. Is that how it works?
That's how it goes in my I'm gonna have to get some more water. Sorry. That's how it goes in my salon. There's different things. You can rent the chair, or you can go on percentage.
Now, just so everybody knows, we're actually recording this in Half Moon Bay. We are in Half Moon Bay, and it's very dry. And I was telling Julie before I got on here, I was like, I thought I had COVID, but there's no way I've had COVID because I've basically been holed up in my house and riding my bike, and there's just no way that I have it. But it's sort of crazy, isn't it, Julie?
Yeah, it's nuts. It was super windy last night. It sort of died down, so I'm gonna have to drink a lot of water because my throat is super tickly.
Yeah. So let's go back. So in your business model for your hair salon and your two barber shops, you get you charge. How does that work again? You charge them rent?
I either charge a rent for a chair, or I charge percentage. Most people, if they're starting out in their career, they don't want to come up with full rent when they don't have a clientele. So I just take a percentage of their income until they build up. When they're paying me, so the numbers could be whatever. Say it's $500 and to rent a chair. I mean, it's a little bit more than that, but and so when they start, they don't have a clientele, so they're not going to plop out $500. So they will give me a percentage. It's usually 60-40. I get 40, they get 60, and then they pay me 40% of their income. And when that 40% of the income reaches the chair rental price, then they start renting.
So you're almost like an investor, because do you screen these people? Like,
well, yeah, I do.
I mean, I would, because if you just let anybody in there, you're giving away the rent. Like, so what do you look for? Do you interview them? Do you watch how they cut hair?
I interview them. It's more of a feeling for me. I also really like to give people who are sort of haven't had a lot of success in their life, or, and people in my business, I mean, a lot of them, it's like it's a default career to a lot of people. Like, you've got to do something when you get out of high school. You got to do something. You better do something. So some people will just like, okay, I'll be a barber. But, I've been lucky that I've found barbers in this town who've been cutting hair since they were like, in middle school. They've been cutting their friends' hair. And so for them, they've been cutting hair in their garages, and I know who they are. My daughter is also in the industry, and she has friends, and she's like, so-and-so's been cutting hair in this garage for since the 7th grade. Ricky, he played soccer or whatever. So I like to sort of go out in the community and say, hey, you guys, you should get your license. Like you're not going to be a garage barber like for the rest of your life. So I've encouraged them to get their license. I didn't have a school in the beginning, but I encouraged them to get their license and, get their state board license and and become a barber. And then I actually didn't have a barber shop. And then so that's kind of how I started with this one barber, Ricky Rodriguez. And he was my first barber. And I created a little barbershop in my salon, my hair salon for him. And then I said, hey, I really want
just so I understand that, is that like you created, when we say barbershop really applies to men. Is that fair to say?
Correct. It has a barber chair and,
just different.
Yeah, it's just a little bit different. But I created a little spot in a 1-chair barbershop in my salon for him. And I'm a barber too. So, and then I said, hey, I want you to go, I'd love for you to go to school. So we signed up for another school, not my school. And he got his license, and I was looking for a barbershop location for about 5 years. And I found the one I have now. I opened it at 765 Main Street. And so that he was my first barber. And then my niece was also a barber there, and myself and my daughter. So Ricky and 3 girls all started cutting hair. I opened the barbershop in 2015. We were so busy. It was crazy. I mean, we worked every single day, all day long. It was nuts. And I was running back and forth to the salon to the barbershop, and Ricky was working all the time. And then I said, hey, I need some new barbers, tell me who's cutting hair in this town. And so he introduced me to a couple of barbers. One of them was going to school. And so I got him to come to the shop, and it's just kind of word of mouth when I first opened. And then I thought, okay, I need some more barbers, and I don't want to deal with these really sort of janky barber apprenticeship programs. So I just thought, okay, I'm going to open my own and create my own barbers.
Well, that's an interesting, that word janky that's an East Coast word, So here's a question, rewinding. It took you 5 years to find a spot. Like, we don't have a big town. Why does it take 5 years?
Because I wanted a spot that wasn't downtown, because there's no parking now, right? When I grew up here, you could just park anywhere. And when I grew up here, there were 4 barbershops. So like in the 70s, there were 4 barbershops on Main Street. So they were small, but it just took me, I just wanted the perfect location before I decided to jump in and spend a bunch of money and create a shop. But I kept looking and kept waiting and waiting and waiting, and finally found one. I wanted the shop to be for, our community, like a community barbershop. I did not want it to be for like tourists. So I didn't want it down on Main Street. So I wanted it somewhere, and I really honestly found the perfect spot. It's down on the south end, and it's the Farm Bureau building. Underneath, it's about 800 square feet, and I can put 6 chairs in there. It's just the best sized little barbershop. I mean, it's a nice one. So it was gutted when I got it. The Farm Bureau really worked with me. I got them to really do a lot of improvements, and I designed it and everything myself, and it's just a huge hit.
Well, I have not been there, but I am going to go there because, as I think I told you before we were getting on here, my wife said that my COVID haircutting is not up to standards, and that people could easily tell because I tried to fade the back myself, which you could imagine is hard. Mm-hmm. But you watch some YouTube videos, you think you're good. Now, can you explain a few things for me?
Mm-hmm.
And look, I'm not that old, but apparently maybe I am, or I don't go to barbershops enough, or haven't. is what's the real difference between a cut, a fade, and what other there's another.
Taper, the taper.
Yeah, a taper. You have these three options, and was trying to book. I was
Right.
texting you, right? I was trying to book a appointment, and how do you know the difference?
Well, I mean, you could just book a 30-minute haircut if you don't know what you want, and then discuss it with your barber in your consultation on your first appointment. But so, like, some people get an all scissor haircut where there's, they use scissors all over the head and then just edge it up with the edgers, and then
What's the advantage of that, by the way? I see the all
it's
scissor.
just like a longer haircut, like a longer hairstyle.
Okay.
Longer hair. So, and then a fade goes from short to long. So it could be like a bald fade where it's completely to skin, and then it fades up. It looks gradually, more hair.
I looked it up.
Less
Yes,
hair.
I understood.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then a taper is more hair on top, and then it's just like short to long, just on the bottom. It could be like this. I don't know where the camera is. This much.
Like an inch or two.
Like they have, a low fade, mid fade, high fade, and then the tapers are usually just like right around the edges.
I see.
All the young people know all those terms, but
are you implying that I'm old?
Well, I mean, they didn't really have that. I mean, I'm much older than you. I'm 59, but so
yeah, I gotta get it.
Once you get there, you'll just discuss with them, and then they'll figure it out.
And how do you know who to pick?
Well, I actually lost a couple of barbers over COVID because they want to cut hair in their garage like they were doing the 3 months of COVID and not pay, to rent a chair, which I'm not saying if I was that age, I wouldn't do the same thing. So I'm not holding it against them, but I miss them.
Right.
And it's not that I miss, them paying me rent. I miss them personally. I mean, we're kind of a big, one big family there. So, maybe they'll come back, maybe they won't. So, but I'm starting to create some new barbers out of my school now. So
you have barbers there. So like, I just book the appointment and hope for the best.
Yeah. Yeah. So just, I mean, anybody there right now can do it. And then I'm not on the barbershop schedule because I actually work out of my salon because we're trying to do some social distancing I took one chair out of the barbershop and my salon is set up so that we can really have social distancing. And then I have a 4-chair barbershop, which only 2 barbers are in it next to my salon. So right now I'm not on the barbershop schedule. So you can always text me if you want a haircut, but if you want to go into the barbershop, just anybody could do your hair.
I was just curious. That's for
they're all trained.
All our listeners would, and look, I looked at your barbershop. It looks absolutely gorgeous. And I really liked what you said. You said I created a man cave. It looks like a man cave to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks super cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I just, I did visit every single barbershop in San Francisco and the Oakland area.
What?
Before while I was looking and while I was just getting ideas, and I kind of knew exactly what I wanted it to look like, and that's exactly what it looks like, actually.
So in doing your research to build your shop, you actually spent a lot of time, sounds like.
Yeah. Well, I knew, you have to pick the chairs. I have antique chairs, and I had to find those, and I had to find enough of them. Actually, found a guy that I'm really good friends with now. It's been like 5 years. So I get all my barber chairs from him. I've purchased 9 barber chairs from him, and they're all the same, which they're Belmont chairs. They're very nice. They're very heavy duty. A lot of the chairs that are made now are, have a lot of plastic parts, and they're kind of
I was looking at the picture. They look like solid, real. That was it. Just I'm looking forward to going in there. Now, you have a hair salon, which is for ladies, But I think some men go to hair salons, but,
Yeah. I mean, all of my clients, even the clients that I gathered up at the barber shop, because I used to work at both.
mhm.
And then I said, you know what, you guys, there's no room for me at the barbershop anymore. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to do all my clients at the salon, and my clients, they don't mind going to the salon. It's fine. It's not super girly or anything. So, we, so we have both, but women don't usually go to the barbershop unless they need like a fade or something, a shorter, super short haircut.
Yeah, like a modern. I know some ladies
Yeah.
have the
Yeah.
have the modern cut. Do you think it's smart to bring a picture of what you envision?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I found that.
That's helpful, because sometimes your vocabulary isn't the same as our professional vocabulary, and it might be like the complete opposite. So it's really a good idea to have a picture.
Yeah. Now tell me, you've built up these businesses. I mean, I would guess you really don't need to work because you've created this, lack of a better word, pipeline that's working when you're not there. Do you do it? You just seem like it seems like you enjoy it.
Yeah, I still really enjoy cutting hair, so I do work behind the chair. And now, since I was off for 3 months, I do actually really need to work, and I lost, 4 barbers, so
That's a lot.
so I do need to work. Yeah, yeah. So I love cutting hair. I love my businesses. I still am pretty enthusiastic about working.
Do you do nails at these salons too?
No, we don't do any nails. I
Just
mean,
all.
barbers don't do nails, but none of my cosmetologists do nails either.
So what do you think is unique about Half Moon Bay that we have in this community? Do you feel like we have a really tight community that supports one another? I feel like we have this small businesses all really try to bond together.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I do a lot of, I have clients from over the hill. I have clients from San Francisco. I have clients from Palo Alto and San Mateo, but most everybody is from here. I noticed that after COVID, when we were able to open on June 19th, because people are staying home and working from home, and they used to get their hair cut over the hill where they worked or in San Francisco, I've gotten a lot of new clients from COVID, because people are here and they really want to find a place here to get their hair. They don't want to go to the city because they don't go there anymore, or they don't want to go over the hill. So it's been nice. We've had a lot of new clients.
That's awesome. Now, your school that you have, do you charge people for this? Now, this is obviously a great recruiting pipeline for you at some level, and it does help the community professional and get better.
Yeah, it's nice to have a school, because otherwise they would have to go. I think the closest one is San Jose, Santa Cruz, or Hayward.
And do you charge for it?
So there is a fee, and it's for all the it's kind of complicated. The wording is kind of complicated, but if anybody's interested, they should really just contact me.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the long and short of it is you can get certified. Now, can you be certified to be a cosmetologist and a barber, or I assume that there's some differences?
Yeah. So you can either go to the cosmetology program or do the barbering program. The difference between a cosmetologist is, well, they do nails, and barbers don't do nails. And then the barbers can use straight razor, and cosmetologists can't use a straight razor, like around the edge or shaving. They can't use that straight razor on your face.
That straight neighbor, I got to tell you, that thing makes me nervous. Is that there must be a real technique to that, Julie?
There is. It's really not that hard, and it seems scary because it's a straight razor, but it's
does it give a closer?
Does
it? Well, I know you're trained. You're a trained professional with that straight razor. Does it give a closer? Is it much closer than any sort of razor blade that you eventually get?
So the concept is, before they had like the double or triple or quadruple or Mouse, can you give me some water in this?
Yeah, I think I have one that has 8, Julie. 8 razors.
Are you serious?
I don't know. I don't know if a damn thing works better or not, but it sure as hell costs more.
Yeah. So before they used to have things called the safety razor, which was just one blade. And it's actually better for your skin because the double blade, or I'll just use the example of a double blade. So the first blade cuts your beard and kind of pulls on it. And the next one comes in and cuts it behind it. And then it retracts back into your skin. You can get some ingrown hairs and stuff. So, so the safety razor that we used to use, or men used to use, is much better for your skin than the double or triple or quadruple or whatever they have out there. But yeah, it gets close, and it's just a lot of steam towels and eucalyptus oil in there, and face massage and moisturizer and toners on your face and skin and stuff. Sort of like a man version of a facial.
That's what my wife said. She said it would be an incredible experience. So I'm looking forward to it. Now, so I got a question for you. Do you think entrepreneurship can be taught, or do you think it's something in you that just gets ignited by something?
I think it's both. I think, like, one of my favorite things is to take somebody who, like you said, each barber and stylist is an entrepreneur because they run their own business behind their chair. And I think I sort of tapped on this. I mean, I sort of mentioned this a little bit earlier, that I love to take somebody who maybe hasn't had a lot of success in their life and maybe didn't do very well in school. And I'm like, gosh, you're such a, you can be a barber. Like, you can work for yourself. You can make your own hours. You can make a ton of money. You can, take a month off. Or, I mean, you can making your own schedule is amazing. I mean, I have people who, have their PhDs and they're just so tied to their job, and they're just wondering how I go to the Philippines for a month every year, or how do you do that? How do you snowboard, 30 plus days a year? And I'm like, because I work for myself. I mean, I actually don't like to tell people how much time I take off, because, they start wondering, like, they don't like it. So, I mean, one of the main reasons I do this is because I can make my own schedule, period. I mean, that's really important. So I do like to tell people who haven't had a lot of success in their life, a young person might be somebody in their, 20s who maybe didn't even graduate from high school, or, was always in trouble, or, was like, had some restaurant job. Not that restaurant jobs aren't a job. It's a great job. But, and just like, they're just not that happy with what they're doing. And I say, be a barber. You can be a barber, or you're cutting hair in your garage. Get your license. Let's do this, So I like to tell them that they can be their own boss. And some of them get very good at it. I mean, they're so good at it. They get very encouraged, and they're just so up, and they're just like, I love this job. I mean, honestly, if you talk to anybody at my work, at my shops, they'll say, like, I can't believe we get paid to do this. Because it's a fun job. It's a fun job. It just is. It's a fun job.
Well, I think if you want to know what's going on even remotely in town, that a hair salon or a barber shop would be the place to hang out, because I can't imagine that they don't learn everything. Right?
Yeah. We like, one of the things I tell my people on I hire them or take them on to the team is that, the number one thing is that we don't gossip, which is kind of rare for a salon and barbershop, but we know what's going on, but we don't gossip.
No, I think that I would just listen. I mean, you don't have to, usually you don't have to say anything much to people, especially in that circumstance, right? People just like to talk.
Yeah.
So I'm
definitely like to talk. So, we like, through my clients over 35 years of being a barber, I have so many connections. It's so great. And they all would do anything for me, and it's a lot of connections over that many years.
Yeah, I think people value their hair.
Yeah, it's also a great way to, bartering. People who have something or can do some other service, bartering is also great for barbers, because, we always have a job unless there's COVID. Um, because hair grows and it's never going to stop growing, and we're never going to be replaced ever.
Because of the personal connection. It's actually an interesting
Well, yeah, I
topic. You
mean,
don't
I
think a
don't think
robot could cut the hair?
no,
Uh,
definitely not.
that would be that would be incredibly hard, wouldn't it?
Yeah, really hard. And they used to have like that Flowbee thing, right? It was a blow dryer that sucked your hair
Yeah, in
and
the
then
80s.
cut off. Yeah. And those actually work, but that's one kind of haircut. So
What? You think they work?
they work for a certain type of haircut.
Oh,
I mean, not very well, but they definitely worked.
that's crazy.
Yeah, I just don't think we're going to ever be replaced.
I think it's an interesting topic because that would be incredibly I mean, I would think that might even be harder than a self-driving car. I mean,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That wouldn't. How do you consult and then, like adjust it and stuff like that? No, I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, would it be fair to say that also the premium that you pay to get your hair cut or styled or whatever the right word is really the experience? Because what you're selling is an experience. On your website, what you sell is, at least in the barber shop, is a cool man cave vibe. That's what I told you. I didn't look at, in fact, you don't even have a ton of pictures of the haircuts because that's not really what you sell. You sell the experience and people pay for the experience, right? They want to come talk to Julie because that's fun and they feel good when they leave.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. It's an experience.
So one thing I do want to touch on is for everybody listening here in Half Moon Bay is you not only help people become barbers, but Helen had said from Coastal Wood Designs that you help other entrepreneurs get started because she credited you with helping her in the early days. So how do you just find the people come along and they find you and you help them, or how does that?
Well, I think that like I met Helen and she had this great product that she made, and I don't know how old she was, like 19 or something, and I said, hey, you should sell your stuff because my salon is, women love to shop, right? So I can sell anything in my shop. So, and I love to feature, like I do feature certain artists, like for wall art. So I've done that, and a lot of first timers. So someone will say, oh, my friend has some art, do you want to meet them? And I'm like, yeah, bring them on in. I mean, I don't care. I don't know. It doesn't hurt me. I just leave my walls blank until another artist comes in. So for me, and it's great for my clients because they don't want to see the same thing, like the same picture posters from 1980 or something. Right. So I said, oh yeah, I mean, that's great. You have art. Let's put it up. And they're like, oh,
I'm just laughing because
nobody's going to want to buy it. I'm like, well, I need something on my wall, so let's just do it. Let's just put it up. So we put it up. They sell some stuff, and I always say, let's have a show. Let's have a Sunday afternoon from 1 to 5, and let's invite everybody that and then they can come see your stuff and have a little bit of food and stuff. So I've done that with over 10 years that I've owned my salon, probably 8 or 9 times. Featured a brand new artist, and it's always somebody local, and people love that. And my clients really, they love having local artists, their stuff and seeing their stuff and coming in and always having like fresh stuff to look at. But so then I met Helen and I said, hey, you should sell it. I think I met her right before the holidays, and I said, bring in a table and a tablecloth and throw some stuff on there and have a little frame with your bio on it and your picture of it sounds like a supermodel, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
She doesn't even know it. And so have a little picture of yourself, have a little bio, and then, have your product there and people will buy it. And lo and behold, people bought it.
Yeah, it was just cool stuff.
And people usually are a little bit shy about selling their stuff. And I said, well, I think it's a great product, so let's just do it. And, they're like, they always say, I don't think, and I'll be able to sell it. I'm like, well, let's just try it.
But I think that's a really good message, what you just said, which is those entrepreneurs that I find, Julie, they want to make it perfect. They want to like,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
never get out of the house, right?
Yeah. And they
And
just keep creating. Yeah. And there's usually they're not good at marketing. So I say, hey, I like your product. I mean, and I think I have pretty good taste. So let's just do it, and they're like, well, I don't know how much to charge. And so, and I always say, well, for me, I think one of the things that I'm pretty good at is trying to get into the psychological thinking of a shopper. So I say, okay, people will buy anything under from $20 under without thinking, like, and then 25 under $30 nowadays, like you won't second guess it. You're just like, okay, yeah, I'll buy that because I like it. I'll buy it. And then you get into the 50 range and it's, they think about it a little bit. And then I always tell all my artists that have, their original art, I'm like, only put up stuff that's under $100 because if it's over $100, people are probably not going to buy it. So either make prints or, offer the original, but make prints because people just need to have your art. They just want to have something of your art. So Helen, I said, let me see what you have. Give me your inventory and then I'll help you price it all. She sold a lot of stuff that year. And then I told her about a couple of other little local things that she could do. And, she was really good. Even back then, I don't think they even had Instagram when she started because she's been doing it for a while. But Instagram is also a great way now to sell your stuff.
yeah, that's actually how I found a lot of people here in Half Moon Bay is on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I think that some of the people we have here in Half Moon Bay do it. I mean, an absolutely incredible job just using a free resource, showing things, and just on Instagram. Helen's one of them, but there's tons of people who filled the stories. And I saw a few people. There's a clothing shop downtown, Crow's Nest, I think.
Crow's Nest, yeah.
And I actually saved 1 million screenshots. And here's why, is because all these people were complaining, which look, COVID sucks, right? It's been tough. But she was modeling these things and putting it in her story. I don't know how many sales she had, but here's what I do know is she was out there selling and somebody bought that stuff and she got creative to do it. So I don't think there's this, there's a million reasons to say why you can't do something, but that is very nice of you and generous of you helping people out because I think people are really grateful for that.
Yeah, I think so too. And they always, and I don't take any commission for my artists.
No?
Like if they sell stuff, no. Because I say, I make my money behind the chair. I make my money in my business. I'm trying to help you grow your business. So why am I don't need your money to build, I don't need your income. I don't need income from your business. I just want you to start your business. Like just start it. And I don't need anything. So I think that's kind of rare because I know other salons and stores, of course, you put your stuff in and they want 50% of it, or galleries or something like that, which it's like, just give this person a little head start.
Do you think that do you believe the universe pays you back?
I do, but that's not why I do it. I just do it because I'm so excited for somebody to work for themselves. Like I'm always trying to talk people into working for themselves, because it's it's freedom. It's so nice, but not everybody's cut out for it. But I think a lot of people wish that they could do it, but nobody takes the first step. And me, I'm just a complete doer. Like I have an idea, I just do it.
What advice would you give someone? Because I know you've probably given it to someone who is wishing they could take the first step, but for whatever reason can't take it. Like, what do you tell them to say? What do you say?
Well, they have to have a little bit like, the people who have sold stuff in my salon. I mean, honestly, this one kid, he's 45 now, but he's the local guy, Kevin Henney. He has a store downtown, which is an amazing store. You should go see the store, Jupiter in Maine. Have you seen it?
I haven't.
So I've known him since he was in 6th grade. He's friends with my sisters, but he is an incredible artist that does all this, photographer that does all these local scenes, and he's very shy. I mean, like very socially shy. And I think, so 10 years ago, he was probably 35. I said, hey, Kev, it took me 2 years to get him to put his photography in my salon. I'm like,
2 years?
Let's just do it. I mean, I cut his hair. So I'm like, Kevin, I really need somebody. I would act like, I did. I said, Kevin, I really need something on my walls. Like, can't you just do it for me? I was like, I don't know. I just don't think it'll sell. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love your art. So I just want it on my walls. And I'm like begging him. And so then he finally, printed up some stuff and got it. It was when the wrapped photographs came out, And so his stuff is amazing. And he sold a ton of stuff. And then I said, let's have a show, and he's like, oh God, people aren't going to come to the show. I mean, he's so shy. And I said, well, let's just do it. I want to have a show. Like, people are asking me, I just made all this stuff up to make them feel good. So I'm like, you need to have a show, I'm very convincing. So he's like, okay, we'll have a show. And oh my gosh, there were so many people who came. It was crazy. He sold so much stuff. And he was just like kind of sweating, like he was beating up because, socially it's just like, this is very overwhelming. And then a couple times he came to me and he's like, this is so much fun. And I'm like, great, and I said, great. And then afterwards he's like, oh, he had the biggest smile on his face because, everyone loves his stuff. And so for me, like, that felt so good because I kind of got him out of his shell. And I'm not like, I'm assertive, but in a very like, I don't know. I'm not like aggressively assertive, but I'm enthusiastic about people's stuff. That's what I'll say. I've been very enthusiastic, and I think that people should put their stuff out there, So.
And if they put it out there, and for some reason, someone doesn't like it, you get all the feedback and they'll tell you exactly what they do want. Right?
Right. Yeah. Most people like your stuff, and whoever doesn't, it's not that everybody's taste, like not everybody wants a velvet pumpkin, but most people do. And then, his stuff is so amazing, and it's local stuff. It's like, he sold a lot of stuff, and then he had a gallery on Main Street, and now you'll see his stuff in Jupiter and Maine.
That's cool. Well, This has been really fun. You have an incredible story, and helping everybody here in town is awesome for all of us. If you were to give, I call them HPTs, high percentage tips for entrepreneurs out there, either wanting to take the first step or current entrepreneurs to grow their business, what would be 3 HPTs that you would give them, Julie?
Well, I think that I have a service business and I have a product. So I think that if it's a service business, because I also have sort of encouraged people to, like one dog walker, and who's a friend of mine. She's like she's almost 30 now, but she has a really just like very successful dog walking business.
Here in town?
And, yeah.
She does.
Muttley Crew.
She's on Instagram too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, if it's a service business, I think that you should make sure that it's a service that people need. I don't know. Some people have some ideas that I think that's probably not going to work. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if I see somebody that has an idea that I think is going to work, and I don't know everything, but I don't know. Let's see. And then I think that the pricing in the beginning of your service business should be kind of on the low end, and then you kind of creep it up, once you build your clientele. So that's one thing, like, just go out there and start the business, and charge or don't charge. And it's just like word of mouth in this town, this particular town is very valuable. I mean, I didn't even have a telephone number at my barbershop when I first opened.
What?
No landline. Because I didn't want people to be calling. I wanted everybody to go in and look at it.
That was smart.
I don't know. I come up with this stuff right off the top of my head. And then everyone's like, you don't have a phone. I couldn't call. I'm like, yeah, we don't have a phone yet. For 5 months, I did not have a phone.
So they had to come and see you.
Yeah, everyone's like, hey, there's a barbershop in town. Well, how do you get a hold of them? I don't know. Like they have a website, but I don't know. Let me just walk in and see it, because, you know, it's not your typical barbershop. And I mean, it's a pretty cool barbershop. So, and it was the first barbershop in town in a lot of years. So I wanted people to come in and look at it. I didn't want them to think it was like a salon, because it's not.
No, it is not. I haven't been there.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I'm getting off focus. So, as far as like a product, if they have a product they want to sell, and they're an artist, I think that you need to create, like, you have this product. Like, say Helen has a product that she created, and her first piece she wanted to sell for like $200. Well, have something that you create that everyone can buy, and everyone will buy on an impulse buy without thinking about it. Like that item that's $25 or under.
The entry
right?
product.
Yeah. So have a product that's going to sell, that's going to get your product out there, and then start building on top of that. So that's like a good, you know, because I think a lot of the people who do all these, like, you know, pumpkin festivals and art festivals, you know, they have things that cost like $1,500, $500. I mean,
it's a big leap to get there, right?
That's not make something less and sell a lot of it. Then you get to actually do what you like to do a lot of times, and you'll definitely make money. And then to jump into wholesale, a lot of people don't want to do wholesale, because when you do wholesale, you have to reduce your product by 50%. But like I told Marilyn Johnson, who sells have you talked to her? The spread the love jelly.
Not yet.
So, you know, we had a little meeting, and she's like, I just really want to do direct sales because my product is really high quality, and, you know, it's expensive, so I don't want to reduce it. And I said, okay, think about it this way. You can direct sale, but then you have to put the time in to direct sale it. And that's a lot of farmers markets. That's a lot of pumpkin festivals. That's a lot of going around and selling your stuff, which will wear you out. You won't have time to make it. So I said, so you have to think about it like this. Like, what if you know, wholesaled it like 1,000 pieces for half the cost, like $7 instead of 14 or whatever it is. Let's just use 7. And Whole Foods sold your stuff, you can make $7,000. That makes sense, right? Or do you want to try to make $7,000 by direct selling? Like, you have to have a direct sale, but you also have to have a wholesale. But you have to find the product that you can wholesale, so that it doesn't, like, I've been talking to Helen about that. You know, what's your best seller, and can you get it down to, would it be worth it for you to make it for this amount of money? And that will be like your bread and butter. That would be like your constant thing that you're making that's super easy, and the people want to buy, and they'll sell and sell and sell and sell, so that you can make a big chunk of money. It's
great advice. And it's free marketing. They buy, and you know,
yeah.
And you step them up the value ladder is effectively what you're explaining.
Yeah. It's same with the service business. Like, give your service away for free, and then they'll be like, this service is great, and then I'm going to pay you. But if they had to pay for the service, some people might not have paid for a dog walker or a haircut because they don't know you. So if you just get them in your chair the first time and give it away for free, then the next time they're going to pay you. Like, I have this one client I have 10 years ago when when I sort of stayed home with my kids, and then I went back into the salon when this was probably 20 years ago. I did this free, $5 haircut in a tent down in Princeton. There was some kind of relay race or something. We were like sponsoring and doing, you know, $5 haircuts. And I'm like, yeah, I'll do that all day long. So I still have that client from 20 years ago from that $5 haircut.
So your customer lifetime value is very high on a $5 investment that you effectively made. Your return is enormous.
She's probably $1,200 a year for me. So that's $20,000 or more, $22,000 out of that $5 haircut. But that free haircut could have been the same thing. Let's just give it away for free. All you have is time in the beginning of your service business, and then it grows. And then, you know, so I don't know, to me, it makes sense to do those two things, like get your product out there, give your services away for free, and then you'll build your clientele.
And then have someone else sell it. Because I think that thing you said earlier, Julie, is really interesting. And I could be making this mistake for whatever I've been doing this entrepreneur thing for 20 plus years, is making yourself the sales rep versus the creator makes you look bigger than you are too, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like, oh, they have a sales rep. Not like, oh God, she's trying to sell her stuff that obviously it doesn't sell very well because she doesn't even have a sales rep.
That's huge.
I was just trying to skip that process, and I wanted to actually see people's reaction and see if they wanted to sell my stuff. My velvet pumpkins sell really, really well. It's crazy. The following.
Yeah, crazy. That's super cool.
And I don't use Instagram.
No, I couldn't find you. I was looking. No, I can't find Posh Pumpkin.
If I did, I don't know. I just don't use it. I like to be sort of like, I have people call me every October. Oh my gosh, I had a really hard time finding you, and I need to get my mom's starting to collect these, and like I have to call somebody tonight. And I like that. Like, I like to not be that easily found, you know?
I do.
I don't know why.
It works, right? It's somebody. I actually have a company that has no website. In fact, the only thing it has is an email address, and the only way you find us is through word of mouth. And right, somebody said to us, we were in a meeting. They're like, "Well, you're not legit. Nobody, you don't have a website. You don't do that." I said, they're like, "How do you get customers?" I said, "Our filter is the fact that you can find us. And if you can't find us, you're probably not a fit for us." Right? And there's something to be said for this mystery, which it sounds like you've done a really good job with, like the no phone thing. I'm laughing, but the no phone thing is genius, right? Because I can think of myself that I do this sometimes. I don't know. I would have done it to your shop. I just say, I'm just going to get in my car, drive right downtown and see this lady's barber shop. And then once I walk in the door, I'm so committed. Right?
I know, men are like that. Men, they find a barber and they stick with them until literally the day they die. I mean, you know, some of my barbers say, "Oh gosh, I can't stand doing these little 3-year-olds." I'm like, be nice to your 3 or 5-year-olds, because guess what? They will stay with you until they're 60, 70 years old. Like, they will travel to you.
But yeah, you know, and I got to tell you, Julie, that is God's honest truth, because when I was in college, and with my wife, who's now my wife, but she was my girlfriend, we would travel an hour and 10 minutes for me to go get my haircut, which
I know.
It makes no sense.
That's how men are. Men don't like change. I'm sorry, you're a man, but it's true.
That's totally fine. So women will change hairdressers.
More, not really. People like to stick with their hairstylists.
It's true, right? They just believe.
Yeah. I have somebody who lives in LA. Like,
what?
A man. I have a man who comes up from LA. I have a man who comes up down from Tahoe.
Every like 3 weeks?
No, he comes down like every 8 weeks. I have lots of people who live, because they moved away and they're like, "Oh, I just want you to cut my hair." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, it's humans are very interesting. It is
Yeah.
it
I
is
mean,
true.
it's good. It's nice. And I do tell my younger people, like, be good to those kids because they will come to you
They,
forever.
that's what I did until I broke the habit. Until I was like, this is insane. I'm driving an hour and 10 minutes for
I
I don't
hear
know.
you.
Yeah, in college maybe it was $20 for me. I don't forget, but it
Yeah.
was like, what am I? I'm spending more in gas.
I tell people that. I said, can't you find somebody up in wherever El Dorado Hills? There's got to be somebody up there. I know. I just want to come down. I'm like, okay. Plus, Half Moon Bay is kind of fun to come to, right?
Yeah, it's like I tell it's sort of crazy. My wife and I, before we lived here, we lived on the eastern shore of Maryland, on Chesapeake Bay, and you know, we all can. I don't know if everybody complains, but traffic does stink on weekends here. I
Yeah.
mean,
You just don't go anywhere.
right? You just ride your bike, but if you're going to live in a beautiful place, then that's what you're going to get. Like I was at a party the other night, or not a party, but it was a get together and outside, and people went around the room and everybody said, well, where's your favorite place on earth? And I was like,
Right here.
I live here. And they're like, well, what do you mean? I was like, don't you love where you live? And they're like, oh, we don't really like it. And we don't hate it, but I was like, Half Moon Bay is the most incredible place. Like
I've traveled a lot to different countries, and I'm telling you, this is a very nice place. It's beautiful. I mean, it's so unique, Half Moon Bay. It's so close to the city. We're rural, we're beach, and we're city. I mean, it's just and urban. It's just like but don't tell anybody that.
And the redwoods, right? Like people
I
don't
know.
believe me. So my mom first came here. She's like, oh, well, you live in San Francisco. I was like, no, we live in Half Moon Bay. Like it's rural. There's really
redwoods.
there, and not a lot of development allowed here anymore. I mean, thank the good Lord for at some level, right? But it's just incredible. And I tell people, I'm like, well, I'm at the airport in like 23 minutes. I'm watching the baseball game, and at 30 minutes, I'm surfing in 5 or 10, depending on where I go, right? I'm riding my bike. You can hike. Yeah, it's just, and the weather.
It's perfect. Except when it's too hot, like today.
Oh, well, what was it today?
Like 70 or something crazy, like 73 or something.
Yeah,
and
that's
that crazy wind. Yeah. So yeah, we do live in a beautiful place.
Well, Julie, thank you so much for being on. How is the best way for anybody to get in touch with you? To make an appointment at your hair salon, at your barber shop, or Posh Pumpkins?
Just text me.
And I will put that number in the show notes. You don't mind that?
Everybody, my number's out there you can Google me and it's out there, but yeah, just text me.
So text Julie. I'll put it in the show notes, and you can get a velvet pumpkin, a Posh Pumpkins, a really cool haircut, or a great stylist. Thanks so much, Julie.
Okay. Thank you. Nice meeting you.